What's something you witnessed that sounded too crazy to believe? About 20 years ago, my wife and I were driving Highway 89 through northern Arizona around 1 in the morning because night driving meant less traffic. I spotted a few glowing eyes ahead, figured it was coyotes, eased off the gas like a responsible adult for once. We passed a little pack standing off the shoulder, and I started speeding back up. Then my wife goes, one's running next to us. I looked over expecting a coyote doing coyote stuff. Nope. This thing was keeping pace with the car about 20 feet off the road, like physics had clocked out early. Real quick, if you're into creepy true stories like this, hit subscribe because we've got a lot more that only get weirder. Then it stood up on its back legs. Not stumbled, not hopped. Stood all the way up and kept running like that for a couple seconds before peeling off into the darkness. I absolutely buried the gas pedal. My survival instincts were filing paperwork while my brain was just screaming, "Yeah, no, we're not sticking around for director's cut footage." It all happened in maybe 10 seconds, but those 10 seconds stretched like cheap taffy. You know how a normal dog looks goofy standing up? This wasn't goofy. It was like watching a coat hanger suddenly decide it had knees. Every logical explanation I've come up with over the years sounds great, until I remember actually seeing it. My wife saw it too, which somehow makes me feel better and worse at the exact same time. We almost never bring it up anymore, mostly because every conversation ends the same way. Long silence. Then somebody goes, "Yeah, screw Arizona at 1 in the morning." Story 2. I was half passed out on my parents' couch, freezing my ass off. Then out of nowhere, this wave of heat rolled over me. I was like, okay, weird, but I'll take it. Then boom. Felt these sharp, bony fingertips pressing into my scalp from behind. Nope, absolutely not. I grabbed whatever the hell it was and shoved it off without even thinking. A few minutes later, my mom walks in saying she heard a door open and suddenly felt like she needed to check on me. Probably some sleep paralysis adjacent brain glitch, but my brain still files it under, yeah, let's never nap there again. It's like your nervous system sees a horror movie before your eyes do. Love that for me. Story 3. When I was a kid, somewhere between 6 and 11, bedtime would randomly turn into the worst acid trip nobody ordered. I'd be lying there and suddenly my blanket felt 6 inches thick, like I was buried under a memory foam lasagna. I'd look across my room and it'd stretch out like somebody grabbed reality by both ends and hit the zoom tool. My stuffed animal would shrink. Tiny sounds echoed like they were bouncing around a cathedral, and sometimes I'd swear I was getting smaller. I didn't tell people because how do you even explain that without sounding completely cooked? "Hey mom, my teddy bear just rage quit the laws of physics." Yeah, solid plan. Years later I found out it has a name, Alice in Wonderland syndrome, which honestly sounds way too whimsical for something that had me questioning my entire operating system. Thankfully it just stopped. No warning, no finale. Reality finally decided to stop trolling me, and I'm still weirdly grateful for that. Story 4. I swear this happened exactly the way I remember it, and literally nobody believes me. I was out camping, wandered into the woods to take a leak, living my best, one with nature moment. Then something landed on my thigh. I looked down. It was a dragonfly. Not a dragonfly. The dragonfly. This absolute airborne kaiju had a black and red body that stretched almost the length of my damn thigh. And before Reddit starts doing Olympic-level mental gymnastics, no, it wasn't 2 dragonflies hooking up. I've seen dragonflies doing their weird helicopter honeymoon thing. Story 4. I swear this happened exactly the way I remember it, and literally nobody believes me. I was out camping, wandered into the woods to take a leak, living my best one with nature moment. Then something landed on my thigh. I looked down. It was a dragonfly. Not a dragonfly. The dragonfly. This absolute airborne kaiju had a black and red body that stretched almost the length of my damn thigh. And before Reddit starts doing Olympic-level mental gymnastics, no, it wasn't 2 dragonflies hooking up. I've seen dragonflies doing their weird helicopter honeymoon thing. This wasn't that. The body was proportionately thick too, like somebody accidentally hit 400% scale in the insect settings. I just stood there mid-pee, completely frozen because what exactly is the protocol? Do you politely ask the prehistoric attack helicopter to move? Do you negotiate? I wasn't about to slap something that looked like it paid taxes during the Jurassic. Eventually it buzzed off, sounding less like an insect and more like a tiny drone with unresolved anger issues. Ever since then, every time I tell the story, people immediately start explaining what I actually saw. Thanks, guys. Glad you were apparently hiding behind a tree watching me pee. Really clears things up. Story 5. One of my earliest memories is from when I was about 4, staying at my great-grandma's house in New Jersey. She made me a little bed in the living room, and sometime during the night, I woke up to see an older man sitting on the edge of it. He smiled at me, patted my leg like grandparents do when they're trying not to wake you all the way up. Then he stood, grabbed the jacket hanging by the front door in one smooth motion, slipped it on without breaking stride, and walked out the front door. That was it. The next morning I told everyone about the nice old man who visited me. The adults laughed because, kids say weird stuff. My great-grandma asked what he looked like, and I described the flannel shirt, suspenders, khaki pants, basically Grandpa's starter pack. Everyone kept smiling like, "Aw, that's adorable." Then I got up to show them exactly how he'd grabbed his jacket off the hook. I copied the movement because that's the part that stuck with me the most. When I turned around, my great-grandma wasn't smiling anymore. She was completely pale. Tears were running down her face. The room got so quiet it felt like somebody hit the mute button on reality. You could have dropped a penny and started a family argument over who heard it first. Nobody laughed after that. I found out later the man I'd described was my great-grandfather. He'd died years before I was born. I'd never met him, never seen a picture of him, nothing. People have spent years trying to explain it away from me. Bad dream, kid imagination, lucky guess, memory changing over time. Maybe. Pick whichever one helps you sleep. All I know is I still remember the way he smiled, patted my leg, and casually threw that jacket on like he'd done it 10,000 times before. The look on my great-grandma's face told me everything I needed to know. We never talked about it again, and honestly, we didn't have to. Story 6. Back in my early 20s, I lived in this 2-story house with 5 other dudes. One afternoon, it was just me and one roommate downstairs, wasting our lives on the SNES like productive members of society. Around 3-ish, we heard the sliding glass door upstairs yank open, then slam shut hard enough to rattle the house. Then came the footsteps. Fast. Heavy. Just bang, 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 tearing down the enclosed staircase like somebody was sprinting straight at us. The stairs turned at the bottom, so you don't see who's coming until the last few steps. Except, nobody came around the corner. The footsteps just stopped. Dead. Me and my roommate locked eyes with the exact same expression. You know that silent, "Are we both hearing this or did reality just blue screen?" Look. I yelled my boyfriend's name because it was around the time he'd normally get home. Nothing. Not a voice. Not another step. Just that stupid, suffocating silence that somehow feels louder than the noise before it. Silence has weight sometimes, like wearing a wet blanket made out of bad decisions. So we did the only reasonable thing. We crept upstairs, one tiny step at a time, fully expecting some crackhead, burglar, or actual demon to pop out. Nobody. The sliding door was still locked. Every room was empty. We didn't investigate any further because, contrary to horror movies, I wasn't interested in earning a Darwin Award. We walked right back outside and chain-smoked cigarettes until my boyfriend got home about 20 minutes later. Nicotine wasn't fixing the problem, but it gave our hands something to do besides shake. Nobody ever believed us. They all figured we imagined it or that somebody broke in and bailed. Sure, maybe. That's the explanation I want to believe. But I still drive past that house every now and then, and the place gives me the same skin-crawling feeling every single time, like the windows are staring back. And yes, before anyone says it, I quit smoking 17 years ago. Apparently escaping haunted staircases was easier than quitting cigarettes. Story 7. About 4 years ago, I got stuck closing at work, so by the time I left it was around 8. Not crazy late, but the whole area turns into a ghost town after 7. Nice neighborhood, decent businesses, 0 people around. I pulled out of the parking lot, stopped to check for traffic, and glanced left. 2 people. Standing on the sidewalk. Both wearing these skin-tight white bodysuits from head to toe. No logos, no colors, nothing. Just human-shaped marshmallows. At first, my brain tried to make it normal. Maybe painters? Maybe some weird promotional thing? Then they both started speed-walking straight at my driver's door at the exact same time. Yeah, absolutely the hell not. I mashed the gas so hard my car probably thought we were fleeing the IRS. Took the corner way faster than I should have, and checked the mirror. They were still coming after me on foot for a few seconds before they disappeared behind the buildings. The really dumb part? I drove straight home because panic is apparently a terrible life coach. My house was only like a 5-minute walk away, which is also why I drove in the first place. 8 hours in retail plus a steep hill equals, my legs filed for bankruptcy. People always ask if it was Halloween. Nope, not even close. Maybe there was a perfectly innocent explanation. Maybe they were filming some bizarre YouTube prank. Maybe they were just two weirdos with catastrophic timing. Cool. They can explain it to somebody else's driver's side window. I'm not volunteering for whatever low-budget horror movie they were auditioning for. Even now, every time I see somebody in one of those white painter suits, my brain immediately goes, ah yes, the full-body nope pajamas. Story 8. A few years back, my fiancé and I were driving through rural Arizona late at night. She was dead asleep for basically the whole 2-hour trip, so naturally all the weird stuff waited until I was the only witness. Thanks, universe. I passed a car pulled onto the shoulder with the hazards blinking, hood popped open, and one of those little work lights hanging under it. Looked like somebody had broken down. Totally normal. About a quarter-mile later, my headlights caught this guy standing on the side of the road. Tall, like well over 6 feet. Skinny enough to look like somebody had stretched him in Photoshop. Completely bald. Ghost pale. The creepy part wasn't that he was there. It was what he was doing. He wasn't looking for help. He wasn't waving cars down. He wasn't even watching traffic. He was just standing perfectly still, facing the open desert, staring into absolute pitch-black nothing. No flashlight, no phone, no moonlight worth mentioning. Just endless, empty desert, and this dude acting like there was something out there worth watching. My headlights hit him for maybe 2 seconds, and he never even flinched. Didn't turn his head, didn't acknowledge the car, nothing. It was like driving past a mannequin somebody forgot to uninstall from reality. I'm sure there was a perfectly boring explanation. Maybe the broken down car was his. Maybe he was looking for a lost dog or waiting for someone. Cool. My brain understands all of that. My nervous system, meanwhile, hit the panic button so hard it probably left fingerprints. I brought it up later and my fiancé basically shrugged because she'd slept through the whole thing. So now it lives in that annoying category of stories where even I wish I'd had another witness. Arizona at night is already unsettling. It doesn't need random NPCs staring into the void like they're buffering instructions from another dimension.